Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Connect 0007 podcast. I am your host, Thaddeus Sims, and today this episode is going to be about communication. But before we get started with that, I want to share a cool fun fact. So I'm going to start doing this, I guess, for every podcast. So did you know that every year, hundreds of new trees grow because of squirrels forgetting where they bury their nuts? I find that to be funny because I love squirrels. I don't know what it is. I think I programmed myself to love them because I see them and I get super excited. It's sad. My friends judge me over it and I love it. It's just, I can be having a crazy day and I see a squirrel and I'm just like lit up. It's ridiculous. But I thought that was a pretty cool fun fact. So now you guys know. Now, let's hop into the whole communication thing. Now, I'm sure you've heard communication goes a long way. I'm sure you heard if we communicated more, things would be better, blah, 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 blah. So let's actually talk about this. We're going to stab this in a few different areas, and I feel like it'll definitely help. I'm going to share some experiences that I personally have had with other people around me, and also some things that I learned from, again, different types of people. So the first thing I really want to tap into is just like listening. And a lot of people get listening confused with hearing. And those are two different things. When you hear, it's as if, for example, someone's saying, hey, did you know, like, I went over here, I did this thing. You're like, yeah. Oh, okay. You're not listening. You're just hearing them. You're just responding. You're whatever. And I feel like that is like one of the common issues a lot of people have with those around them, especially in relationships and just friendships. But switching over to listening, that's a whole different topic in a sense of if someone's talking to you and saying, hey, this is what's going on today. I went to my friend's house. He seemed a bit off. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. It was weird. When you're listening, it's like, okay, you're listening to this person of, okay, how are they feeling like with this? Are they concerned? Are they just saying this? You're asking questions. You're basically showing genuine interest in the individual. So be it as, what do you mean by that your friend is off? What do you mean? How are they normally? And they'll say, oh, I don't know, usually he's smiling all the time, but today he was, I don't know, I could tell he was a bit off. Okay, are you guys close? You know, do you guys talk about these things or whatnot? That's an example. And there is a difference when you're listening with empathy and you actually care and you genuinely want to help someone. And when you really listen to individuals, you know, it helps out a lot. And also too, when you have something that you're going through, you would want someone to listen to you as well and not just hear you and just say, you know, whatever. Someone who, you know, genuinely cares and stuff like that. And I feel like some people really need to work on that. And there's books out there that helps you, that talks to you about listening. But just, you know, a few simple tips that you can take with that, just on that part itself, is simply when someone you care about is talking to you, you know, put the phone down. You know, don't be distracted with anything, because that's also signs too. If you're doing something else and someone's genuinely trying to talk to you, they can feel that. They can feel like whatever you're doing is more important than what they're trying to tell you. You put the phone down, you know, actually face them, you know, look them in the eye and just really hear them out. And listen to them also in a way of just don't cut them off and just, oh, say this, say that. Actually, like, hear them out, hear what they're trying to say, because a lot of people really want to express themselves, but we're in a world, unfortunately, where a lot of people really just don't really care to hear. And I can't say that for everybody. Just, you know, naturally, you go someplace, work, whatever. Some people you can tell genuinely cares, and some people just making conversation. So those are just a few things you can do. Really just be there for that individual. Ask questions, you know, actually, you know, be there with them and help them through that or whatever it is. Or sometimes some people don't even want to help. They just want you to just listen. I found that actually goes a long way as well. Sometimes you really don't have to say anything. And sometimes you really don't have to give them like advice. I was talking with a sister of mine, and we always have funny conversations. And one of the things we talked about a few weeks ago, I was saying, hey, sis, someone is telling me something and I don't know if they want me to give them advice or they want me to just listen. I don't really know what to do here. And she was like, oh, sometimes I just want to talk to people and tell them what's going on, but I don't want advice. I just want them to listen, and it just makes me feel good. I'm like, you know what? Okay, I get that. And I've had moments like that too. It's like, hey, I just really want you to listen, and also communicate that. Let me say that too. If you're the one who wants someone to listen to you and you don't want feedback, just say that in advance so they know not to try to give you advice, so they can, understand. It's like, hey, I have something that's going on. I really need to say something. I just want you to listen. Don't give me advice, and it's like, okay. And then it just works out. But yeah, those are just a few things to stab in there. Again, there are books on this. There are people skill books on how to properly listen, ask questions, show interest, show concern, and, genuinely try to help that individual. So that's that little pinpoint on like listening versus hearing. Another thing I want to top on is seek to understand before being understood. And I feel like that will go so far. And what I mean by that is before you try to get someone to understand you, try to understand them first. And just a few examples is we all have that one person at work. That one person who annoys the hell out of us. And, they something about their personality, their characteristic, things they do, it just irks your soul. And, you may want to just say, you know what, when you do this, it genuinely pisses me off. Like, I know we're at work, but I really want to fight you. You know what I mean? But you don't want to do that because you got bills to pay. So what I mean by seek to understand before being understood is, you know what, let me ask this individual, why the hell do you do this? Not like that, but okay, let me give y'all a real example. Okay. I was at one of my jobs I used to work at Cracker Barrel a long time ago. And there was a coworker who was very OCD. Like I would do something and she would come right behind me and correct it. And it would just annoy me. Like, you don't think I know how to do my job? Like I was really getting mad. So before I can, go up to her and say, why do you do that? Like, that really pisses me off. I say, you know what? Hold on. Let me ask her. So I pulled her to the side. That's a key word right there. And keep that in mind. Pull them to the side, separate them from people, because when you try to do stuff and confront people in front of people, they get defensive and it just goes so south. Pull them to the side in private and talk with them. And just say, hey, I noticed so what I did, I said, hey, I noticed that when I clean this area, you just come behind me and you just redo everything. Like, and I kind of feel like you don't know, like, or I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just curious though. Don't take no offense. I'm just curious, like, why do you do that? And when I talked with her, she was saying, she was like, I see you do it. And she was saying that I don't mean to offend you or nothing like that. She just says, I really just genuinely love to clean. And she would say, yeah, they say you can do this, but when you do it this way, it actually lasts longer. The smell there, you don't have to worry about it being slippery or stuff like that. And then she was sharing some tricks that I did not know of when it came to how they taught me how to clean certain things. And I was like, really? She was like, yeah. She was like, outside of this, I clean homes, I clean my house. She even told me that she used like lemon juice to clean stuff. And I was like, what? She was like, yeah, like, you don't know that? I'm like, no, I was ignorant on that. So she was giving me tips and I was genuinely like, wow. I was very wowed by what she was saying. And so instead of, reacting and wanting to tell her off, I seeked to understand why she did it before I wanted to be understood. And it made a world of a difference. So after that whole little combo, 2-minute combo with her, it changed my whole perspective on it. So now when I would clean something, I'm like, hey, I want to clean this, but is there some little trick or I would go to her, you know what I mean, to make sure it was right. Cause I like to clean too. So I wanted to make sure I was doing a really good job. And she was like, oh yeah, you do this. So it was actually pretty cool. After that, it was really cool working with her. Like I learned some new tricks and I was just like, wow, I learned something. So what I mean by that example is before you want to fight somebody or before you confront someone, put yourself in a position first to, okay, you know what? Let me understand why this person is doing X, Y, and Z before I either snap, before I fight them, or before we make a scene, wherever we at. So that's just a little tip on that. And just really, that takes some practice. That really takes some practice. Take a breath, woosah a bit, and just give that a try, somewhere. And you'll see it'll make a world of a difference. I do that to this day. And that is why I'm just so calm when certain people do certain things. And when people have certain personality things that I may not personally click with, I ask them, why are you so extra? And they just tell me. I don't say it. Well, I can say it that way with certain people. I advise you to, evaluate your relationship with someone and see if you can say it that way. But I guess I play with all of my people around me, so it's hilarious. But in a professional setting, I would, pull them to the side and say, hey, I noticed you do this. Why? I'm genuinely curious. And that also helps too, is to let people know your intent when you ask these questions. Because a lot of people these days are a bit like on edge, like, are you attacking me? Are you judging me? Why are you coming for me? Let them be honest and, genuinely let them know your intent of why you're asking that question. You'll see it'll set them at ease. It'll just make things so much easier. And they'll just feel more comfortable. So something genuine and something simple as saying, again, pulling them to the side and say, hey, I was curious. Why do you do that? Why do you do this? Like, I genuinely want to know. And then it's just like, oh, okay, he's not trying to say something slick. And you'll see that'll go a long way. So that's a point on that. Now, let's talk on clear communication. So I'm going to split this up a bit. So the first one is with assuming. And we all hear it, don't assume, we all say, don't, the little phrase, when you assume you make an ass out of you and me, blah, 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 blah. But unfortunately, we hear that and we don't do that. Some of us will still assume. I will admit I have been a bit guilty here and there of assuming certain things, but I know that's wrong on my end. So I take steps to correct it. So here's what I mean by some things that we know we shouldn't assume on, but we do. Let's take someone we're really close with, friend, a lover, or a family member. And let's just say that you guys are close and let's just say they do something to rub you the wrong way. So you're either quiet or you react in a certain way and you don't say nothing. And you assume they should just know why you mad or why you upset. And that is bad. Like, that's just not good. And I'll put myself out there, is I have a very close relative of mine that he will do something and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to say nothing. And I'll breathe. I'm like, whatever. I'm not even going to put my energy into this. I'm going to go play my game, because if I say something, it ain't going to be right. So I just say, fuck it. And with that, excuse my language, I'm sitting here mad and he don't know what's going on and he just living his best life over there. And I'm just like, okay, I shouldn't do that because I'm the only one mad. So what I do is, for me, I know myself. So if I'm mad at that moment, I know, let me not say it right now because it's not going to come out the way I want it to. So I take a moment, breathe, do what I need to do. And I say, hey, when you did this made me mad. And this is generally how I feel. And they'll be like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah. And they'll be like, oh, and then they'll say, oh, my bad, I didn't know. And I'm like, yeah. And then you just say, just however you say it in a nice way, just like, yeah, just try not to do that again. But my apologies for not letting you know. But I'm letting you know now. Clear communication. And even again, that sounds super easy, but you really have to know yourself. So you'd have to know, okay, if you're the type to snap at, flip of a switch, take some time to breathe and then come at them in a calm way. Just say, hey, again, away from people. I'm going to say that again. Pull them to the side and let them know, because when you say that in front of people again are a bit defensive. And then if you're like me, I can't stand when I'm trying to talk to someone and then some third party person just jumps in, and that just makes me pissed. So I just know for myself, let me just pull this person to the side. So you don't want to assume. And if you do, be mature, take some time if you need to, nothing over a whole week, but take a few minutes, breathe, and communicate it to them as you would want someone to communicate it to you. Not with an attitude, not being slick, not being sarcastic, just letting them know and whatnot. Also, it would help as well if you could give them a little solution. Like, it may be something that I didn't give them an example of, hey, here's one. When you sneeze and I'm cooking in the kitchen, that genuinely pisses me off. So, hey, you know what? Let me breathe, come back. Hey, Brittany, when you sneeze, can you not do an indication? I know it's uncontrollable. It'll just come. But for future emphasis, could you sneeze in your arm instead of not covering your mouth? Because if I'm cooking, that spreads. And you gave them a solution, like sneeze in your arm, and just be like, and then what helps too is relate with them. I do this all the time. I would give them a solution and relate with them in a sense of, hey, could you sneeze in your arm and cover your mouth when because that spreads. And to be honest with you, I used to do that. And I was like, oh my gosh. And someone told me, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know. And then when they show, sneezing your arm, and I was like, oh wow, okay, that's better. I did that. I was like, oh wow. I'm like, and I would say you probably didn't know that or whatever, but I felt crazy. I didn't know. And then they're like, wow, it's like you give them that exit, like, okay, wow, I didn't know that. Okay, my bad, man. Yeah, I'll do that. You just taught them something. You said it in a calm way. Now they're not sneezing in your kitchen and they covering their mouth. Boom. You just did that. So that's one little snippet on that. Another thing is ask when you're unsure of certain things. People would tell me stuff and I didn't understand it. And I just figured, okay, you know what? I'll figure it out. I'm smart. I went to school. I'll figure it out. And I'll do something. And, I thought I did it. And they'll, hit me up another, I don't know, sometime later. Hey, yeah, I thought you did so-and-so. I did. No, you moved it. You didn't, clean it and switch it out. Oh, you wanted me to do all that. My bad. I didn't understand. Well, why didn't you ask me? Honestly. And I'm going to be honest. I sometimes don't ask. Well, not anymore. I used to not ask because I didn't want them to think I was stupid, or I didn't want them to judge me because I didn't know. And that was just, I don't know. Now that I look back on it, it's just like, dude, come on. You're a whole adult right now. Like, do better. But I just did it. I didn't want to think I wasn't able to do it. So I was just trying to figure it out. And doing that just made life so much harder. That just took so much more time than it needed to. And I just got mad when I didn't do what I didn't understand. It was just, it was too crazy. So to save you from that, and if you do that now, if someone says, hey, Oh, actually, okay, I give you a live example. This just happened, we'll say 20 minutes before I did this podcast. A coworker asked me to clean these bins or whatever at work, but she did it in a voice text and I didn't really understand. So I was just like, okay, I figured, okay, you want me to clean these bins. It's a bin, it's an ice bin where we put stuff in. Okay, I get it. So I said, yeah, I get it, but I put in parentheses what I thought she meant, and she called me and she was like, no, I didn't mean that. I'm like, oh, okay. And she told me what it is that, needed to be cleaned. I was like, oh, okay, I get you. So now when I get to work, I know exactly what she was talking about. But in that way, I put in parentheses what I thought. So I communicated through text what I thought she was saying, and she corrected me. And also, too, when people tell you stuff, it's okay to say, yeah, I don't follow. I don't understand. It makes it actually kind of funny. I don't know. I like to laugh at myself, but it also helps, the other person clearly communicate it to you in a sense of whatever it is they're trying to tell you. Just say, hey, I don't understand. When you say this, say that. I don't get it. And that doesn't make you seem slow at all. That's what I've learned. It does. Like for me, I thought, people thought I was, a little, touched or whatever in the head. And it's just not the case at all. It's just like, I don't understand how you're saying that. I don't understand what you mean, because certain people use different words for the same thing. And that may genuinely confuse you. So just ask if you really don't understand, and it'll make your life so much easier. It'll make that 10 to 15 minute thing that you thought you were supposed to do into a 2-minute thing that they really wanted you to do. And it was simple and easy. And it will go a long way. So clearly ask if you are unsure on stuff. And that sounds very easy, but you'd find a lot of people don't do that. So if you're one of those people like I was, just tell people. And to this day, my friends, I laugh at myself because I have some really smart friends and they'll say certain things. And I'm like, yeah, you're using big words that I sometimes use, but I'm not sure the meaning. So what do you mean by that exactly? And I laugh at myself and they laugh and then they tell me what they mean. I'm like, okay, I understand that. That was simple. Thank you. So I know you're all probably just laughing at me like this guy is really just saying it like it is, but I am. So, okay. Another thing is, let's see. I kind of said this a bit, but I want to say, like, don't think the other party should just know what you're thinking. That's almost a bit with assuming, but something simple as if let's just say you're doing a project with someone and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to handle this part. He's going to handle that part because he's always good with mathematical things. I'm good with the drawing and the artistic stuff. So he knows what he's going to play, and I know what I'm going to do. And, you may start on something and then, you do it, and then you'll find that a person is doing what you thought that they were not going to do. And it's kind of a little confusion or confliction or whatever with that. And you're just like, okay, hey, yeah, I thought you were going to do the mathematics. Oh, no, man. I didn't want to do that. I was going to do the drawing stuff. Oh, okay. Now, we all start with the I thought you were, and it's just like, no, not everybody knows what you're thinking. So in the sense of a project, or you're working with someone or whatever, just say, hey, I'm thinking of doing the art. I'm thinking of doing the drawing on this, that, and the other. I'm thinking that you're going to do the math. Am I right? Oh, no. They may say, oh, no. I'm going to do the art and stuff like that. And I have Tony over here doing the math. So me and you can work together. It's just something simple as if you're thinking of something and you're doing it with another person and whatnot, it's good to let the person know, hey, I'm thinking of doing this. What are your thoughts? Just to kind of just throw that out there. Again, that seems simple. That seems that, but it's like, again, clear communication, like crystal clear. Like, even if you think the person knows, just be clear so there isn't any hiccups along the road with whatever you're doing. And you can just use that even in relationships or with friendships or whatever it is that you guys are collabing on or whatnot. Just say, hey, I'm thinking of doing this. What are your thoughts? What are you thinking of doing? It just clears everything up. Trust me, guys. So that's that whole pinpoint on clear communication. Another one I want to top on is being authentic with how you feel. And believe it or not, that is very, very scary for some people. Some of y'all was just born and y'all can just do that. Other people, like myself, I had to learn to do that. I had to really learn how to be authentic with my feelings. And that took years to do. This was not an overnight thing. Like, this took years. Just a little background with that, with myself, is that growing up, I was a great kid, but around the time, I want to say, late middle school, beginning high school, I went through periods where I was very kind and nice, and people just hurt me, man. Like, they hurt my feelings and stuff like that. It made me sad, made me a little depressed a little bit. And it eventually turned me into a person who was very heartless. I was a serious, heartless person. Like, it got me to the point where I didn't care, about people and their feelings or their emotions or whatever happened to them. Now, if you were close to me and you were family and I love you, that's different. But someone I didn't know or care about, it made me a very heartless person. And I have, people who can back me up on that. And that seriously just, that really just, made me, that was my dark history. That was dark Thad back then. And, you see me now, you would never thought, but no, I really was. And I think a lot of people can relate to just being hurt by other people. And then you just feel, you know what, I'm not going to, show my emotions. I'm going to be tough. I'm not going to care or whatnot. And some of us, we can't even do that. Some of us, we care too much and we want to be a bit heartless, but we can't. And that just causes frustration. And, with people, it's just certain people can really mess you up. And that, for me, it took some time to communicate how I felt. And what helped me is, I'm going to get a little bit in health with this, is that I learned that those feelings that I was suppressing or hiding and stuff, that wasn't good for my overall health. When you hold stuff in, your body's going to respond in some way or another, be it a feeling, be it an ailment, whatever. You may not think that, but hey, I'm telling you, you work on releasing some of that emotional stuff, you notice your body's less tight, less frigid, less all of that, less stress. And what started that, what actually started the change with that is that I had to start working with people, and it was people, those things. Okay. I kind of have to be caring a bit, but overall, with everything I went through with that, I decided, okay, I really need to be authentic. And when something actually hurts me and I need to tell someone, I need to get over the thoughts that, one, I'm weak, one, I'm pathetic, or, I don't want them to have this thing over me. I don't want them to have a one up on me. Or I was always just thinking of how it would make me look if I share my emotions and stuff like that. I'm not a man if I have emotions, I'm a female or whatever. All these stupid things I'm telling you guys are so stupid. But I had to work through all of that. And eventually it got me to, some time where what helped, I'm gonna say what started was I had to find a person that I could genuinely be open authentically with. And that was my practice with this individual. And as I did it, I felt safe. I felt more confident that I can do it more. And I started slowly with other people. And now it's super easy in a sense of going back to being authentic with how you feel. Is if someone irks me or pisses me off, I will tell them, or I will remove myself from the situation, or whatever it may be, depending on where I'm at. I was just, okay, you know what? This person's pissing me off. And if I don't really have to be there, I'm going to remove myself. I don't need to stay there. So, or whatnot. But now let's say you just can't get up. Let's just say it's somebody you're really close with. That's when it's just, okay, hey, cousin, again, pull them to the side, away from people. Cousin, when you said that really made me mad. Like, you really upset me. Like, I'm seriously pissed off. Like, why would you say that? And you go from there. Again, work on staying calm, because the person may not even know or whatnot. And again, sometimes people are just people, and you just have to learn, okay, certain people are a certain way. And that's when you learn, okay, this person is this way. There ain't no trying to change them. I know not to do this or be with this person or share this with this individual. That's where you kind of have to learn, okay, I know not to be like this with this individual. That way, that saves you from the emotional pain or whatever it is with that individual. And you just kind of learn. But even with other people, someone you genuinely care about, just, they may, for example, do something for you and you say, oh, thank you, but you're really not authentic. Like, when they do this for me, it makes me feel so happy, so loved, so cared for. I love it when they do this. And you may just say, oh, thank you. Ha 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 ha. But when you share like authentically how you feel, that creates such a strong connection with that individual and you communicate it like, clearly, like, hey, when you do this, like, okay, you really be making me smile and stuff. I be going to work and I be thinking of you and I just be cheesing and everybody know it's something you did. And when you tell someone that just like lights them up, so it's so many good things you can do with being authentic. But again, that takes strength, that takes time, that takes getting to know yourself. But when you do that, the overall results of it is amazing. And not only that, but you will attract a lot of authentic people around you. And that is gold in a world of people who are not authentic. I'm telling you, that is so gold. And also a bonus, I still laugh and I kind of mess around with this because it's ridiculous. I'm very authentic and I'm very honest with people around me. And again, like I said, you'll attract those people. All of my friends around me are brutally honest and authentic to the point where I'm like, guys, just lie to me at least once. And they don't. They really don't. They can't. It's so good. But I'm just like, guys, you're too honest. Like, I asked you how this made me look. You could have simply said, I don't like that. But no, you said that I look like a ratchet down the street and I just look any type of way. Matter of fact, when you go out, don't let people know that you know me. And it's just like, dang, okay, so I'm not gonna wear this. These are the friends I have, and I love them. It's so hilarious because that's how we have to speak to each other. We can't sugarcoat nothing. It's just, this is how it is. This is how it's gonna be. Deal with it. But by all means, you can go out there. Just that's how it is. Mind you, this I say that to them too. So it's not them. It's me. I say this to them too. But again, the strength and all that you give, you will attract so many authentic people and a lot of authentic opportunities around you. So I feel like, I'm gonna stop it there with the authentic thing. I feel like I'll have a whole probably podcast on that. But that's another pinpoint. And the last pinpoint I want to talk on is body language. And body language, there's so many things you pick up on, things you learned. There's a lot of things when it comes to body language. And I'm going to really talk on the main ones as far as this generation and what I'm seeing in 2018 is your body language says a lot of things that you may not say verbally. So here's one, and I think all y'all can see this, is when I'm talking with people, it really irks me that they're texting on the phone while I'm talking to them. Now, if this is something that's not important, like, oh, hey, by the way, I seen this plane in the sky. It was going south. Woohoo. That ain't important. But if I'm really trying to talk to you about something that's important regarding you or me or just something important and you're texting on your phone, the whole time, I can feel that. Other people can feel that. That's rude, man. You're basically, you may not know it, but you're basically saying this text message is way more important to compared to what you're saying to me. And a lot of people do that. And now, granted, if it's an important text message, say, hey, hold on right quick. I'm sorry. This is an important message. I just got to respond to this. And once you respond, put the phone down, put it in your pocket. You know what I mean? That shows that, hey, I'm genuinely listening to you. I'm caring. So that's one big thing, because a lot of people just talk and their phones are just out, and that's just basically what you're showing. Another thing is when you're somewhere and your arms are crossed, and your arms and your legs are crossed and someone's trying to talk to you, you're immediately showing that no, no, I'm not, you're not open at all to what they're saying and stuff like that. That's something that's, shown. What I'm trying to say is be aware of your body language. So if someone's talking to you or someone's trying to connect with you, face them. You know what I mean? Face them, in a relaxed way, and just look them in the eyes. That's something too. Or if you can't look them in the eye, what I do is weird. I'm attracted to looking at people's lips or whatever, because I'm trying to understand what they're saying. So I go eye. It's like a triangle. I go from left eye to lips to right eye and just go that way, because I'll find myself, I'll look into someone's eye, but when I'm listening to them, I always look at their lips to make sure I heard them right. It's super weird. I don't know if I'm the only one that does that, but I do that. And if you're talking with them, look them in the eye as well. Just move around, nose, whatnot, just as long as you're looking at them. Another thing with body language as well is, you're kind of be aware of your facial expressions a bit. Like if your eyes are like low, or if someone's talking to you, you're just constantly looking all around them. Like, oh, what's that over there? Or, oh, this is cool. Or, oh, wow, she has a nice dress on. Or, oh, wow, he has cool shoes on. What's that over there? People can feel that, guys. Like people are aware of that. They can tell about these things. Another two, oh God, there's so many things with body language. Oh man, it's so much that you can go through, but it's just basically the whole main thing is just be aware of your body language, and even maybe take some time to really learn, what certain body language is that you are doing. What is that being presented as to, an individual? Just do some research on, some of these topics that I talked about as well. So I'm going to end the podcast on this note. So that being said, I cannot wait to hear your feedback on this podcast. Leave some comments, whatnot. If you want me to talk on maybe a particular point and go more into that, I could do that for a future podcast and whatnot. But I also want to hear what you guys are thinking with this as well. Some of the things that you may be experiencing when it comes to communication. So with that being said, I hope you guys have a very fantastic day, a fantastic evening or morning or whatever it is that you're doing. I hope that when you are waking up each day, you're progressing towards what it is that you want to do. I hope that everything around you is literally making its way to you and benefiting you for your highest good. And just most importantly, I hope that you're happy. You are doing everything for your mental, your physical, your spiritual, and your emotional health. And you're just a light, around other people. So that being said, I will talk to you guys soon. You enjoy your day. Later.